When I build a holiday petit four box, I start with a list, and I treat it just like I do flavor work. Each item is only 1 or 2 bites, and it has to hold its own. I begin by making a list, and I compare the recipe list to a list of necessities in order to not only excite the receiver, but also to create visual excitement. The way something looks and the way that it tastes and the contrast with the other items in the box is what will make your holiday petit four box stand out from all the other cookies that you'll encounter during the holidays. Consider color, texture, and shape, flavor, contrasting sweet with bitter and salty. The type of product is also important to me. I like one decorated cookie, cookies that are familiar, items that are new and unfamiliar with unique, more sophisticated flavors like Grand Marnier perhaps. And I always add a little confection, a truffle made from scratch or a caramel. This biscotti recipe is very versatile in terms of how you can make it look, the add-ins you can include, and also the size that it can be cut to. I recommend this recipe because it is not sweet, even though the percentage of sugar is high. The high percentage of sugar makes it not a tacky dough. It's easy to handle, and it cuts like a dream. Biscotti means twice baked, and in this case, you bake the first dough at 325 convection for 35 to 40 minutes, allow it to cool 100%, and then you put it back in the oven, flip the biscotti halfway through, and dry them out at 250 degrees in a convection oven. Rather than continue to mix on the paddle, which might make you feel that you're incorporating the flour, you want to constantly be scraping with a spatula before adding the next inclusion. And I add everything in thirds, the sugars, the liquids, and I always scrape right before I add a new ingredient, and that gets things off the bottom. It helps to reduce the length of the paddle, which will help you retain a tender product. I used silpats to shape this dough. That way I'm touching it less, and the less you touch a food product while it's being made, the better end product you will have. In order to manage your production schedule during the holidays, it's good to know that this dough can be frozen at this stage. Once it's baked, you want to keep it airtight, but you can no longer freeze them. And if they get very moist from the humidity in your environment, put them back in a low oven and re-dry them out before sharing, boxing, or serving them. This batch size did fit into a 4.5 quart mixer, but it's also very large, and I made the biscotti large. For the holidays, if you want to make 2 to 3 inch long biscotti, you can cut the recipe in half and make a petit four size biscotti bite. It's important to note at no point are you bringing on color to the biscotti. You are merely drying them out. I gave all of my biscotti away as a test, and now I'm ready to think about how I would like to prepare biscotti for sharing at the holidays. And for me, that includes adding a toasted hazelnut to the chocolate chunk, and it includes dipping the back half of the biscotti in a really elegant dark chocolate. I also like the holiday petit four box to be something that draws the receiver in the AM. A biscotti is wonderful with tea or coffee. A cookie is great any time of day, and confections like truffles and caramels are really great at the end of the night. If you are not a huge biscotti fan, this is the recipe for you. Many people love them, and what you should keep in mind is that it's tender to the tooth, it's very easy to change the flavor profile by adding different inclusions, and it looks very pretty in the box. And a lot of people love biscotti, and I believe that it's a very unexpected inclusion in a holiday petit four box. Sometimes the treats that we share are not the ones we love ourselves necessarily. Take this year to build a better practice. Think about the list, Build really good recipes and execute them beautifully. Consider how you will package your petit fours, arrange them beautifully, and give them with the intention that you have thought about every detail. See if it makes a difference.